Always good to get off 0 when you're the underdog.
Always good to get any points against Leigh Waters.
Point.
That can prove difficult. Yeah, a couple freebies early on. I definitely accept those.
2-0. Side out.
Wide, and singles, of course, more similar to tennis for our tennis viewers watching. You're a former tennis pro yourself. To the serve, would love to get your mindset on the transition from tennis to pickleball in singles.
Point.
Yeah, we're here at a venue that, of course, is very special in the tennis world. Just a great venue in general. But, yeah, as you say, I came from tennis first, and it is definitely a transition.
1-2.
And yet certain things you have to learn, which we'll talk a little bit more about at this point.
Clean finish for Waters. What is the biggest adjustment you need to make when it comes to the singles game?
I would say getting away from the extreme grips. You'll see more extreme grips now that we've gone to the grittier paddles, the carbon fiber surface that changed the game a bit. But for the most part, the grips are the main thing, I would say. Because in tennis, most people are going to use a semi-Western or even a Western grip for the forehand. And you're just not able to grab the ball in the same way with a paddle and a plastic ball. So I think certain people come over from the tennis court and they're thinking they can spin the ball in the same way, and it takes a little bit of adjusting to. You just got to go more flat with it. It's more of the old school continental Eastern grip.
Leigh inside out, no looky, cross court.
Timeout, receiver.
Anywhere in the court is what really makes that backhand so dangerous.
So true, and it's so much fun to watch, especially on the fly.
Point.
And especially in doubles, you'll see Leigh very active this weekend in both women's and mixed doubles with Colin's brother Ben.
We got some mini tennis going on here at the Lindner Tennis Center.
Inspired.
It's rare that you see that many shots from the baseline in a singles match. Even though it's not doubles, you usually see somebody come forward, and in the men's game, you almost never see that.
6-2.
So both of these ladies very comfortable at the baseline and choosing their spots to come forward.
Point.
She just makes it look easy. Leigh Waters, an effortless touch, closing to the kitchen.
Yeah, and when she's playing well, she's really moving into the court and taking the ball early. So
7-2.
Even taking the ball on the rise more so, really robbing her opponents of time if they're coming forward. That's trouble.
Point.
And she's so active with her footwork and so quick on the court. That doesn't always translate through the TV screen, but when you watch her live, that's
8-2.
an aspect of her game that she possesses.
Yeah, and I don't think it's just the foot speed, like how she moves into the court right there on the forehand. Look at how early she takes that ball. And she ended up losing that point, but she's in control no matter what, and she's going to win or lose the match on her terms, which to her is definitely a good thing.
When you say she hits it early, is it by how quick she's getting to the ball, or?
It's basically how soon she contacts it after it bounces. So in tennis, we call that taking the ball on the rise. In pickleball, the ball just doesn't bounce quite as much. So taking the ball on the rise is a little bit more relative because there's only so much space between the bounce and when you're going to hit it, just due to the low bounce. But she does a really good job of being comfortable taking that ball early. And I think that's something that her mom is her coach in singles. She's really worked hard with Leigh on that to make sure she's robbing her opponents of every possible split second when they're moving up to the kitchen.
Point.
Yeah, the only thing not working so far for Leigh are those returns of serve, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time, depending on the time of day. The ball starts to fly a little bit differently.
Side out.
You see that problem in altitude, which we've been a couple of times this year, but of course here in Ohio, just a little bit of humidity, but 75 degrees, mostly cloudy, perfect conditions for pickleball match.
Yeah, I hit some balls this morning. You couldn't really ask for better conditions. A little bit cloudy. The sun's not really a huge factor, and perfect temperature.
Side out.
A lot different than those 95-degree temps in Kansas City, which you got to escape.
Yes, that was as brutal as any tournament this year. So tournament to tournament, you really got to adapt. In Kansas City, the ball was playing like a marshmallow. Here, definitely a little bit more normal.
Five, 8. Side out.
Waters up comfortably, 3 points on Padegimate.
8-5.
And Leigh Waters perseveres despite the good defense of Padegimate.
Yeah, you see less points like that on the women's side of the cat and mouse where both players are up at the kitchen line, but occasionally you do see it, and there Anna Leigh using the roll volley cross court to come on top. And there she takes it so early there.
Point.
And she's just so comfortable with the timing on
Timeout
that backhand
receiver,
side.
10-5,
The
1
value
minute.
of that.
But to your point, nothing else to lose at this point.
Time in. 10-5.
There's the roll. It's just so devastating. Sets up
Point
everything
game.
where she didn't win the
Waters,
point outright on it,
11-5.
but gets Lina so off balance to where really.
Padegimate in game 1, an 11-5 finish. Michelle McMahon and Colin Johns in the booth.
Point.
Hannah Johns on the sideline with us today.
Yeah, we'll see if Lina changes anything in this game. I didn't really see her make any
1-0.
significant adjustments. She called some timeouts, but she didn't really seem to apply much different. And Anna Leigh's been really hard to slow down. I think she pulled it just barely wide. And Lina has as good a height as anybody on the PPA Tour. I think she's a full 6 feet, so I would really encourage her to get up to the kitchen line. If Anna Leigh is willing to surrender the kitchen line when she's the returner, I would try to get up there and try to take your chance of the covering net.
Point.
Padegimate, as you mentioned, grew up in Lithuania, moved to the U.S. on a tennis scholarship back in 2011. Played for UT. She's got that length and the hand-eye coordination from tennis.
That's a nice stretch. Oh, and then misses the sitter. That's tough.
And that's the difference, right? And how you win a game against Anna Leigh Waters is those are the misses that
1-1.
You
can't afford.
You just can't afford those, yeah. I mean, wide open court, Anna Leigh had basically given up on the point.
Side out. One.
See if she gets away with it. She didn't do enough with that ball. Could come back to bite her.
Who, Anna Leigh?
And Lina. Oh, great stretch. Oh, she finally comes out on top, but there were like 3 balls in that rally where I felt like, oh, she has the winner, and Anna Leigh manages to get another ball back. That would have been a really tough one to lose for Lina.
2-1, 1 minute.
And Anna Leigh Waters shot.
What a shot from Anna Leigh Waters.
Some good scrambling there from Lina, though, and didn't come up with that last one, but definitely making Anna Leigh play a couple extra shots.
One, 3.
Oh, it's a clean backhand. You got a good look at that one.
Point.
think that just barely dropped. Or no.
No, it was just a bit long.
Just long.
Close.
2-3. Side out.
Nice to be 6 feet on that one. Able to get the 2 hands on it and hit it cross court.
That's one thing that
3-2.
Leigh Waters maybe doesn't have, is that length on her side.
Point.
Makes up for it in foot speed and athleticism, though.
Yeah, and I feel like Leigh understands the game of pickleball just based on where she came from and how she
4-2.
learned the game. When she was much younger and the paddle technology isn't what it is now, she just she learned the fundamentals so well, and all her strokes and technique are so just
Side
technically
out.
sound, and that's huge.
Right here, Ale. Come on. Energy.
2-4. Side out.
Good pressure from Padegimate.
4-2.
Nice deep approach.
Side
But
out.
you see Leigh just so comfortable leaning back on that backhand and finds the awkward spot. Nothing wrong with that approach there. It's just when you're going to the best player in the world on her preferred
2-4.
stroke, she's going to find an awkward spot.
Point.
Just long there, and that's an aspect that maybe is underrated when watching on TV, just how hard those third shot drops are to hit with that roll that Leigh just made so effortless.
3-4.
Falling back. Love to get your further insight
Point.
on those thirds.
Yeah, it's something a lot of people can take for granted, especially when you're watching.
Baird Wealth Management Cincinnati Open presented by Vizzy, alongside Colin Johns, top
Time in.
professional
4-4.
pickleball player in the mix this weekend. I'm Michelle McMahon. And Leigh Waters, best in show. Top of your screen. What a scramble from Padegimate. Not enough, though. Leigh Waters just putting that pickleball wherever she wants.
5-4.
Lina tried to stop the bleeding there, but not able to out of the
Point.
timeout. And adds another one there.
Padegimate once had a 4-2 lead. Not so fast. Waters
6-4.
is back on top by 2.
Oh, it's just nasty.
Point.
Wow.
There's just so many places she can go with that ball. She can drive it up the line, she can drive it cross court, and then she can just dip the angle like she did there.
I mean, she could be any guy with that shot.
Yeah, the guys tend to
7-4.
have more reach and a little bit better lateral movement, but still, there are very many guys who would not
Side
get the
out.
paddle on that.
Be willing to put my money on Leigh
4-7.
Waters in the men's draw. See how far she can go there.
She's definitely, she's good enough to push just about any guy in the draw.
That's so awesome.
Point. Five, 7. Point.
Just back, and Padegimate back within 1.
Come on, right here. Let's go.
6-7. Side out.
Down the line, beauty on the backhand, so she is pretty much every shot in her pocket.
Yep, able to dip another one there. And I don't mind the play from
7-6.
Lina to draw her forward, but you got to do more with that last ball.
Side out.
It's one of the few backhands she's missed in this entire match. You just kind of take it for granted that she never misses that shot, but I feel like that's the first one that she was there and she actually missed it.
Come on, right now, right now.
It begs the question, where do you even target
6-7.
if you're Padegimate when there's no vulnerabilities inside of Waters?
certainly you kind of have to play the ball and play it to the appropriate spot, but you really want to avoid that backhand, especially when it comes to crunch time. Lee's confidence on that shot really couldn't be any higher, and it's not that her forehand is bad by any stretch. It's just she doesn't have as much confidence as she does in that backhand, so pick your poison. Oof.
Point.
That would have been a nice walk off there.
Timeout,
I don't think
receiver.
Lina was near enough to that
8-7,
to
1
get
minute.
it, but just barely clips the tape.
On a nice run.
Time in. 8-7. Side out.
Wow, Waters. And that backhand.
Yep, even on the stretch there. It's not a bad passing shot. It's not really out of her reach,
7,
but
8.
she did keep it low, but Leigh dismisses that pretty quickly.
Point.
Come on, use it right now.
8-8.
All right, Leigh goes with a soft serve and gets the
Point.
nothing return back.
Yeah, so
Timeout,
explain that.
receiver.
What's the strategy there?
8-9.
Eastern, or at least an Eastern, even though you might want to use Continental up at the kitchen line. Certainly there are specialty shots up the kitchen line, something like a Scorpion where you might change your grip some.
Time in.
But for
9-8.
the most part, I feel like most players have their forehand grip and their backhand grip, and they don't change it too much. Shade here
Point.
and there, but for the most part, you don't want to have to change it back and forth too much because that takes time, but also it throws off the angle of your paddle. You're used to
10-8.
having it set in that one position, so it definitely takes a lot of experience if you're going to experiment with that.
Match point for Waters.
Point game,
And she
match.
seals it in 11-8
11-8, Annalie
finish.
Waters.
Rallying from 8-6.